every Monday, 3 o'clock p.m. to 4:30 p.m. and Saturday, 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. It's all about the day activities in the Nigerian political space, views of political actors from various political parties on political process, views of labor leaders, and most importantly, your views of the common Nigerian. Tune in to Ebona 103.5 FM or you join online via mixlr.com/gistfm every Monday and Saturday. What are your political views? Keep a date.
My name is Chief Dr. Sir Bob Manuel Udoku Zanabakrido Gidi. Join Martins on political views on Mondays 3 p.m., Saturdays 10 a.m. on Ebonadi 103.5 FM Ogidi.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was affirmed President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria by the Supreme Court of Nigeria on Thursday, October 26th. And then after the judgment was read out by a 7-judge panel, the president was seen congratulating his appointees. Good morning and welcome to Political Views on Ebona, the 103.5 FM. I am Martin Ifeanyi Chukwu Ekezie. Now, as Nigerians are moving forward to focus on governance, there is need to focus on the state of the nation, and then in some quarters, the judgment of the Supreme Court ascended the electoral contest. So far, even with the judgment, it is very clear that Nigeria has a long way to go in conducting elections that is, devoid of acrimony. We have a lot to talk about on this particular edition of Political Views on Ebona, the 103.5 FM. So let's get to it. Let me bring you up to speed on the happenings in our political space this morning. The headlines: retiring Supreme Court judge attacks CJN over exclusion of Southeast judges from Apex Court bench. Composition of presidential election appeal panel. Retiring Supreme Court judge attacks CJN over exclusion of Southeast judges from Apex Court bench. Composition of presidential election appeal panel. Nigeria's future bleak without restructuring. Afenifere Ohaneze. EFCC arrest detains Emefiele after regaining freedom. Supreme Court shouldn't determine winners of elections. Falana. Appeal Court affirms Labour Party's Adegeye election in Amuodofi. Tinubu's Supreme Court victory. Afenifere Arwa Southern Middle Belt demands. Supreme Court, I owe nobody explanation for visiting Tinubu. Which politician told you he is not a thief? Forge certificate, Amechi. Supreme Court has lowest justices in its history, says CJN. Be patient. Tinubu is committed to abundant life, Abiodu tells Nigerians. Now, details. Remember that you can become part of the conversation by sending your reactions via SMS or WhatsApp messages on 0096666135. You can equally join us on Facebook as well live at Ebonade 103.5 FM. And now the first story we have for you this morning. Retiring Supreme Court judge attacks CJN over exclusion of Southeast judges from Apex Court bench. Composition of presidential election appeal panel. A retiring justice of the Supreme Court, Musa Datijo Muhammad, opened the Padura boss on Friday with his brutal criticisms of the absolute powers of the Chief Justice of Nigeria when he faulted the composition of the panel that gave the Supreme Court judgments that affirmed President Bola Tinubu's election victory on Thursday. Drawing on his wealth of experience as a judge, he also faulted the absence of the Southeast region from the Supreme Court bench, a situation he blamed on the absolute powers vested in the office of the CJN. Muhammad, who clocked the mandatory retirement age of 70 yesterday, dropped the bombshell at the valedictory session held in his honor at the Supreme Court complex in Abuja. His outburst was the first of its kind frontal criticisms of a sitting CJN, whom he said enjoyed over concentration of oversight and administrative powers across the nation's judiciary. The incumbent CJN, Olukayode Ariwola, was not part of the panel that delivered the judgments of the Supreme Court on the presidential election appeals on Thursday, but he was solely responsible for constituting the panel. Speaking on the composition of the court's 7-member panel, which dismissed the appeals filed by Atiku Abubakar and P2B of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) and the Labour Party, respectively, against the election of President Tinubu. Muhammad said all the 6 geopolitical zones in the country ought to be represented. The 7-member panel, led by Inyang Okoro, who hails from Akwa Ibom State in the South-South zone, ruled that Atiku's and Obi's appeals lacked merit before affirming Tinubu's election. Of the 6 regions in the country, only South-South, Northwest, and the Northeast were represented on the panel. To worsen the case for Southeast and North Central, with the retirement of Muhammad, who hails from Niger State, claimed the tardiness in ensuring the 2 regions had representatives on the Supreme Court bench on the CJN, saying it was deliberate and is also about the absolute powers vested in the office of the CJN. The next story we have for you this morning: Nigeria's future bleak without restructuring. Afenifere, Ohaneze, others. Leaders and elders of the Southeast, Southwest, South-South, and Middle Belt regions under the aegis of the Southern and Middle Belt Leaders Forum have said the country belongs to all citizens, irrespective of their ethnic representation and political affiliation. It also added that the federal government must restructure the country and enthrone through federalism, as well as was originally entrenched in the 1960 and 1963 constitutions. The group added, without restructuring, the future of Nigeria and democracy remain bleak and must therefore be carried out immediately. This was made known in a communique released on Friday after their national meeting held in Abuja on Thursday, a copy of which was sent to our correspondent. The SMBLF was represented by leaders of the Pan-Yoruba Social Cultural Organization, Afenifere, the Apex Igbo Social Cultural Organization, Ohaneze Ndi Igbo Worldwide, the Pan-Niger Delta Forum, and the Middle Belt Forum. According to the group, certain sections of the country have been continually marginalized in the number of state segments and even in the appointments to the Federal Executive Council. It noted that the calls by the Southeast leaders to be appropriately represented on the Federal Executive Council, similar to other geopolitical zones, should be heeded. The SMBLF also advised the federal government to take urgent steps to release the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, adding that it would promote peace and security in the Southeast. The meeting, which was chaired by its leader, Chief Edwin Clark, had in attendance several national leaders, including the leader of Afenifere, Chief Ayo Adebanjo, President General of Ohaneze, Chief Emmanuel Iwanyanwu, President MBF, Dr. Pogu Bitrus, and the National Chairman, PANDEF, Senator Emmanuel Ibuk Essien, among others. Still on the stories making rounds our political space this morning. EFCC arrest detains MFLE after regaining freedom. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has reportedly arrested and detained the embattled ex-governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, Godwin Emefiele, hours after he regained the freedom from the Department of State Services, DSS. Emefiele is reportedly undergoing interrogation at the headquarters of the EFCC in Abuja after he was picked up by operatives on Thursday night after the secret police released him from their detention. Source said the anti-graft agency is probing Emefiele over alleged impropriety and compromise during his tenure as the head of the Apex Bank. Yes, Emefiele is currently in our custody. He was arrested last night, less than an hour after the DSS freed him. He is currently being interrogated at the headquarters as he is being investigated for alleged misappropriation of funds, among other things, during his term as CBN governor. An EFCC source said. The source added that from the look of things, fresh charges may be filed against the former CBN governor by the EFCC following a plethora of allegations leveled against him. And the next story we have for you this morning: Supreme Court shouldn't determine winners of elections. Falana. Human rights lawyer Femi Falana has claimed that the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has the sole responsibility of determining the winners of elections in Nigeria and not the judiciary. Falana stated this while answering questions by newsmen. His comment came a day after the Supreme Court upheld the election of President Bola Tinubu in the February 25th general election. The Apex Court threw out the petitions from the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Atiku Abubakar, and Labour Party's P2B. Falana has, however, noted that the country is yet to maintain a strong footing in the conduct of elections that are devoid of acrimony. He said, no doubt, the judgment of the Supreme Court ascended the electoral contestation as far as the presidential election conducted in February this year is concerned, but for sure, it is not a judicial endorsement of the conduct of election by INEC. What I mean is that even with the judgment, it is very clear that Nigeria has a long way to go in terms of ensuring the credible elections are conducted, elections that will be devoid of acrimony, elections that are all of us will be proud of. But we are still a long way from there, even with the judgment. Yes, for now, the presidential election is concluded. It should have been concluded in February, but it has not. It has just been concluded by the Supreme Court, and it should not be so. The judiciary should not determine the winners of elections. And the next story we have for you this morning: Appeal Court affirms Labour Party's Adegeye election in Amuwo-Odofin. The Court of Appeal sitting in Lagos on Friday upheld the election of George Olawande Adegeye, the representative for Amuwo-Odofin constituency in the House of Representatives. The affirmation follows the dismissal of petitions challenging his victory in the February 25th election. The petitioners are the ruling All Progressive Congress, the All Progressive Grand Alliance, ABGA, and the Zenith Labour Party, ZLP, as well as their respective candidates in the election. Their primary contention revolved around Adegeye's sponsorship by the Labour Party and his pro-membership in the party before the election. However, the Court of Appeal panel, consisting of Justice M.L. Shaibu, J.E. Akaneme, and P.A. Bassi, unanimously ruled that the appellant lacked the authority to determine a political party's membership or choose its candidate for an election. While dismissing the appeals, the justice agreed with the counsel to Adegeye and the Labour Party on objection filed earlier regarding the case being a pre-election matter and held that the National Assembly Petition Tribunal lacked the necessary jurisdiction to have entertained the matter initially and therefore struck them out. Tinubu, PDP's Governor Diri. Governor Doye Diri of Bayelsa State says he owes nobody explanation for visiting President Bola Tinubu shortly after the Supreme Court's ruling on the presidential election. Diri said the opposition is jittery and telling lies over his visit to Tinubu shortly after the Supreme Court declared him winner of the election. A video had emerged of Diri congratulating Tinubu after the Supreme Court affirmed his presidential election on Thursday. However, Diri said there was nothing unusual about his visit to Tinubu. He spoke at Igedi community, Kolokuma, Obukam, local government area of the state during the visit of the People's Democratic Party PDP governorship campaign trail on Friday. Governor Diri said he was at liberty to congratulate President Tinubu following the Supreme Court verdict on the presidential election. He explained that he was at the presidential villa to discuss serious state matters with the president, whom he said attended to the issues positively. He said, Thursday I was in Abuja and most of you saw the video trending. The opposition is now jittery and are telling lies. Of course, that is in their character. As a sitting governor, there is a sitting president, and I do not owe them any explanation about my visit to the president. And the next story we have for you this morning. Which politician told you he's not a thief? Forged certificate. Amechi slams Nigerians. Former Minister of Transportation Chibuike Amechi has slammed Nigerians, saying they do not react to anything. In a viral video, Amechi was speaking at an event in Lagos State, being his first major appearance since the All Progressive Congress APC primary elections, where he came behind Bola Tinubu, who later emerged as the winner of the presidential poll. Speaking about the alleged certificate forgery, Amechi said that politicians never denied being thieves, forging school or NYSC certificates, but Nigerians still vote for such politicians. Amechi lamented that serious issues which easily lead to mass protests elsewhere are swept under the carpet by Nigerians whom, according to him, take nothing seriously. Nigerians don't react to anything. Has any politician told you he is not a thief? You are shouting forgery, forgery. Which politician told you he didn't forge? Which politician told you they went to university? Which politician told you she served in NYSC? And which politician told you he has his certificate? He said, Nigerians know and still vote for them. So what's your problem? No, don't tell me what's your problem. Okay, he said, no. Now tell me what's your problem. Tell me, why should I speak when there is already nothing new? Nothing bothers Nigerians. So why should I waste my time? I choose to stay in the house quietly. I choose not to speak again because Nigerians will do nothing. Nigerians are committing suicide. Instead of finding solutions to your problems, you are committing suicide. I am praying for you every day that you should continue to. Oh, wow. And it says so that by the time I wake up one day, all of you have. Hi, wow. And this is totally uncalled for, but thank you. And the next story we have for you this morning, Tinubu's Supreme Court victory. Afenifere, Arewa, South and Middle Belts leaders table demands. As congratulatory messages to President Bola Tinubu over last Thursday's Supreme Court judgment, which affirmed his victory at the 2023 presidential election, continued to pour in yesterday. Leaders of ethnic nationalities in country have charged the president to focus on governance henceforth and ensure that his administration changes the fortunes of the country within the next 3.5 years. This was even as some of the leaders expressed disappointment with the Supreme Court judgment, which dismissed the appeals filed by the candidate of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) in the election, Atiku Abubakar, and his Labour Party counterpart, Mr. Peter Obi, saying it was based on technicalities and an embarrassment to the country. Among those who sent congratulatory messages to the president yesterday were former national chairman of the All Progressive Congress (APC), Senator Adams Oshomole, former Director General of the MBC and member, defunct APC Presidential Inauguration Council, Dr. Nasir Danladi Bako, Senator representing Lagos West Senatorial District, APC, Dr. Idiat Adebule, Minister of Niger Delta Development, Abubakar Momo, Minister of Information and National Orientation, Alhaji Muhammad Idris, foremost presidential campaign group of the APC and BAT ambassadors, the Conference of Nigerian Political Parties, CMPP, and the Oyo State chapter of the APC, among others. National Publicity Secretary of Afenifere, Jare Ajayi, while applauding the Supreme Court for affirming Tinubu's victory, said the president should focus more on security. He said it is a matter of concern that insecurity is still being experienced. This can't be seen in the upsurge in banditry. This can be seen in the upsurge in banditry, kidnapping, herdsmen attack on farmers, cultism, and even terrorism. Still on the stories making rounds our political space this morning, Supreme Court has lowest justices in history, says CJN. The Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Olukayode Ariwola, yesterday revealed that the Supreme Court is now having the lowest number of justices in its history. According to him, the Apex Court is having only 10 justices on its bench to tackle the heavy workload of pending cases. Ariwola spoke on the occasion of Justice Musa Datijo Mohammed's retirement after attaining the mandatory retirement age of 70 years. The CJN, however, assured that efforts are in top gear to elevate a sizable justices to the bench of the court, with Justice Musa Datijo leaving us today after the retirement of the Honorable Justice Adamu Amena Oji a few weeks ago. We are now left with just 10 justices on the Supreme Court bench, being the lowest we have ever had in contemporary history of the court. However, I can confidently assure that the litigation the litigant public that efforts are in top gear to get on board a sizable number of justices to boost our rank and complement the tremendous effort we have been investing in the business of the court. The CJN paid glowing tributes to the retired justice, saying, I am so emotionally overwhelmed and at the same time profusely exhilarated to personally witness this uncommon validatory session. And lastly, before you can call in and tell us what you think of all of this, be patient. Tinubu is committed to abundant life, Abiodun tells Nigerians. Ogun State's Governor Dapo Abiodun has assured Nigerians of abundant life engendered by various economic reforms embarked upon by President Bola Tinubu, saying there is light at the end of the present tunnel in Nigeria. Abiodun identifies some key factors contributing to the poor state of the economy in Nigeria. The governor spoke at the Osun NUJ Award program as part of the activities marking the 2023 Press Week in Osogbo, Osun State capital. A keynote speaker, he bagged an award of excellence as icon of developmental governance and inclusivity. Abiodun, who was represented by his special advisor on media and strategy, Kayo Akimade, said the current economic and security challenges informed the concept of the renewed hope mantra of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, which, according to him, signifies a pragmatic approach and sound decision as a way of changing the old order. Speaking on the topic, Nigeria economy, political evolution, prospect or retrospect, and way forward, Abiodun said many analysts and experts in political economy have identified major issues and challenges in Nigerian politics, giving particular attention to the evolution of the federal system, aspect of political competition, and the nation of the ruling groups. There you have it. Since 2003, Nigeria recorded the lowest number of petitions, election petitions. 2007 presidential election was like the winner was the late former president of Nigeria, late Umaru Yar'Adua, and he accepted that the election that brought him to power was fraudulent, but efforts to bring sanctity to the electoral process in Nigeria. And now the question is, are we going to see such a thing with all that is happening in our politics today? Because a lot of people still have the complaint, a lot of people are still complaining about the process of the electoral process this February, this year's February, in the presidential election. A lot of people are still complaining about that. Are we going to see maybe, a change in some of the ways this election is being conducted on a very good day? Some Nigerians are also looking towards the National Assembly to see if there will be, electoral reform as well. But today, you can become part of the conversation by joining us on Facebook as we are live at Ebon at 103.5 FM. Drop your comment on the comment section of the live video right there. You can equally send SMS or WhatsApp messages on 08096661035. Now, to know more, you know that the National Assembly will do, it is expected of the National Assembly to embark on electoral reform. But that is also the responsibility of the civil society organizations, to make the persuasion at the end of the day. So it will pan out. What is your take on all of this? And why you comment on all of this? Be objective about it. But the numbers you call and then you become part of the conversation. 070-3445-9334 or 070-45-592210. Let's hear from you now. What do you have to say about all of this? Hello.
Hello.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah. Welcome, sir.
No. I'm this morning.
Biko Gabaniru.
Yeah. But then you see the situation of Mata. Musa. Now, I want to take you to the South in the John. I want to take you near. I want to take you there.
Yes.
You have a question. A question is funny. Okay, now they will be one out over there. Only you go to Yama. On all the email. You go to the people you see. People go to now. You have a sister. Okay, this is Yama. What is in Yama? As now you go to when you expect the car to go. Man, don't know. So after you say another and I say, we are there. I don't know. Put in the journey. We don't much know whether they can. We do it. To go out. I thought I was just on it. I said, on it. I would do that. On a day, I'm going to I say, I'm come and I made the option. But over the rule, it's like a mother. I never so much to do. Say, I can only be going out to party up. I don't know the structure. I want to hear with that kind of structure. But I'm not the Nakana Akawana with that book. Then I can Lando and then you come at Indonesian and South. Yeah, I'm a no, I just say, I get to say, I get to buy that level. That's the level. About when I like and there, I got one of them. I put them at the top. And I need. I don't know, going to go to where I'm with. I'm not good. I'm not good at all. I say, I'm going to put some to go. So I go and see when I'm in the house. Yeah, you're back. Yeah, we're good. What's the need? I don't have to say, I'm just saying, you do not now get easy man now. What can you put for your people with us? I don't know whether they didn't get it. When you got to that, I told me when you get up at the amount. If you get a here,
thank you so much for joining us this morning. Let's have 34459334 or 07045592210. Let's hear from you now. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Get him, my brother. Jabaniru. Okay.
I'm in the governor of Sayamago. He has first time men are all with the good. Can Ben not try the day. Thank God now with you today.
Yeah.
Because as I say, no long, I put on Monday. I put an hour away. But I'm away goes away. Man, no, yeah, no, in the Nigeria, no way you may make us happier. Because of no way in the for you fly. Because people there may go here or may go in no get man of mine. Where we went to Chucatan Nigeria, you know. Open that move to that town. Just to use the nearby the reason and the kind of go about Anthony Nebo. You go, yeah, and near Nina and I have a snake of the AM. As a matter of yes, to where you away, take you know where man away for all, for everybody. But how do you go get Saturday? Nigeria, go away and I'm out with Nigeria.
ya chieta azụ support ya na-eme ka elerize Nnamdi Kanu.
And thank you so much.
My own opinion.
Mandalo, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Once again, 07034459334 or 07045592210. Let's hear from you now. What do you have to say about all of this? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, your name and location, please.
If I can be speaking from Monica.
Please go on.
If I...
Now, can you do?
Yesterday, I wanted to get this to contribute to the topic of the...
Yesterday is...
the program we had by 4 o'clock, by
4:30, yes. Yes,
so
okay.
let me just contribute this now, then go to the next one.
We have a little bit of what we were talking about yesterday in today's program as well, so just go on now.
Okay. So what I'm going to say is, like the judge, the dark judge, his comments and statements, it's right, but it was not timely. The population was very good, but it was delayed.
Okay.
So we have said it earlier before the time around. So the full representations of, judges from other states. In fact, even helps to make what you call it, Peter would be and this is to use whatever it is, because they say that if you are not there to defend him, you are not there. So it was a very good observation, but it was delayed. It didn't come on time.
Okay.
So that is it. Then another one is
okay.
So that is it. Then another one is you see, Amazing made a very good statement.
Okay.
In fact, you can see what he said. In fact, it's always good. Now, not just the truth, because Tapias is not in the line now. He said the truth. He said all almost protect the fault they have, that reality true. And what he said is true. Now, he says reality true. And what he said is true. Now, he says it's when he contested for, the leaders of the primary objective. He fell, and then he has no what happened. He said, there's no person they can afford to do so many things I want to do. And that is what has kept this country today, where it is.
Okay.
Now, look at it, like what President said, Parana said. You see, the judiciary is appears as what now electing, politicians, which is not supposed to, because I expect to do what it's supposed to do.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And the difference is the right thing. I don't think judiciary, will have anything. It's actually like it's
yes.
I is not, excuse me, because INEC is not completely independent. That's the issue of this matter. So except INEC is completely detached from the executive. That's when we will have a credible election, certification, and then get the idea to start on it, and they bought it, and they finance it, and then have to start IPO. You see, this is again the cost. And each time the thing comes, because they know that any way because they will fail, they will not get it right, because IPO is never a credit certification.
Yeah.
So if the governor, where the trade work is, if the governor will have the good of the people that they have, they have spent very many concerns with how to, bring in what we call ecological integration without it.
Okay.
Then making sure that the ecological integration is buoyant. For instance, now, if you can link the mix, if you throw out the acid, it will not become development.
Yes, it is.
For instance, we have the biggest market in world quality in Africa in Malaysia. And then if they make it this owner and this issue, it will be very good. They make what to do and do the wrong thing, and then they go to the result they want. Now, the people that at home on Monday, you cannot, how can you talk it at home? When you are the one that brought in and accepted wood, and they brought the one for the leaders to come and visit you. They know we can stop it. And the court has taken up the canon. And the plane is free. Then you are still holding him.
Anyway, there is also when it comes to that one, there is also a stay of execution, which we are going to see, the sitting very soon as well. We are going to see that particular court case, pan out very soon. But the thing is, basically what Falana is saying, that's exactly where I wanted to come in when you were saying what you were saying. That if a INEC chairman, does what he's supposed to do, there is no need for the Supreme Court and every other person to play a role. Yeah.
So as I was saying, if you're talking about it as well.
Yeah. Allow others now to come in as well. But thank you. You can come in later. Okay. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Let's hear from you. What is your take on all that we are talking about this morning? Hello. Yes, Otutoma one nwoke keke me. Okay, Gabaniru. Oh yeah, no. Oh yeah, mela mechi ji ekwu idi okwu n'ekwu n'ụtụtụ a nke anyị nọ na. Onwe ndị nke okwu mekwesịrị ikwuzi yọta ọ ya men ji skip season dị ọ uche ka okwu mana ekwesịrị m ịgwa gị ya ekwesịrị m ịgwa gị aja ife ọgwa gị ọ nyanwa ya deli ya ikwu
ọ bụrụ na ama ngụpụta ihe tibicha na echi kwuru mgbe na okwesịghị ike ya ọ pụtara na ihe niile anyị nwa akwụkwọ na-asị na akpa ebe a na-ekwu mgbe ọbụla nwee ike ịbụba anyị na-ekwu
mba na ka o si dị
former president governor of Rivers State.
Yes.
That's our minister of the budget for mine.
Yes.
Well, but I need to go to Okua.
Yes.
Obviously, if I want to follow a Bumba, no way to please talk to a person like that when just away to
Yes.
Well, but I need to go to Okua.
Yes.
Obviously, if I want to follow a Bumba, no way to please talk to a person like that when just away to
Neko City. Yes. So, otu isi agwa mekịta or trial by gịnye gomo i conduct to go the trial at the time pass your judgment immediately come kwuo. If commit go the go the trial you at the same time pass your judgment ozugbo na ihe nkwu na mepumetele ya. So ọ bụrụ na ọ ka m kwuo now the thing is that no nwere ihe abụ on a print callable and ebe ahụ ekwuru na print ahụ ekwu now I'm on electronic media and I cannot say ihe ahụ okwu on electronic means like this, so that's the reason why I will have to stop it. Nsogbu arụ Yes, Minister of Transport, Transportation.
From Kaduna to Abuja. You get a lot of things about that.
Yes.
Open to take CCTV camera, Yamananda, and I'm going to see this camera. You said it. No, you can see I don't have my people. I had to go to the up when they up the demand. Even you said a lot. Even Abuja and all and Abani, only Yana Africa. They are not working anything in Africa. They are never out of the Tokan, nothing they are working in Africa. If you go to a lot of United book, a lot of people know where to go to that.
So, Nko Pukita na most politicians say na thieves forgers so to but he believe or no to akosibi. He believe or not one thing get gola at the end of the day. One thing get deeper, 25 liters.
Based on the size of the rubber, you will learn a couple of it. Sugar. I will not only 1 cube of sugar, whatever. You will have 1 cube of sugar with 9 minutes. I come on, what is on the way? So that is my point here. I'll go and then go and then I'll look up a provision and over and there go on. Monday, I go on. I had it at 20. Out of 5 where go 15 alcohol. Or 1 minute.
Okay. Now I get to okay. Because now majority can. So in a majority. And that is the foundation of Nigeria. On your patron, why you go from over the Senator. I know why I'm not for another than I do the from Jack. But I feel no point for mentality of God. There will wisdom behind the Kunaka and your wife. I will put down. And I know why I'm putting down Janja. Let's go to one and get wisdom. The Korea, okay, I take up on how to get an apple, no good number, the Galo. It's not going to stop at the good one.